Okay. And we could see if you could craft some swords for us, yes. But I think, well, we are looking for a master swordsmith, but I'm pretty sure we know where to find him. It is the dumpling dude, like we were saying. I'm assuming this guy is probably the middle tier. What is it, journeyman? Could check.
Can you craft something for me?
As to what that means in terms of how powerful items he could make for us, although at the moment, only seeing crafting materials and not actual weapons. Here are the silver swords, okay. So our current silver sword is worse than this. Let's see if there's anything, yeah, like level 16. Mastercrafted silver sword. It says mastercrafted, and yet an amateur can make it. That's a little strange. It is higher damage, but lower other stuffs. And that is currently our best silver sword, at least that this guy could craft for us. We are level 16, so it's a good fit in that way. It does cost silver ingots, which is probably something we want to be mindful of using. On the steel side, let's take a look. And the answer is very little. Nothing that would be an upgrade, it would seem. This is the highest level item, and it's still a fair bit worse than what we're currently using. So that's probably no good. Question then is just, is it worth it to say, pick this up? Let's take a look real quickly at what we have exactly in terms of our silver weapons. And then we'll play this guy, Gwent.
So long.
And I say that because I'm assuming our current silver sword is probably pretty darn beat up. It's actually on 100% durability. I take it back. So we might have picked this up recently. Huh. Okay. In which case, I'm a little more hesitant to try to replace it, because it feels like maybe this still has some use in it. Whereas the steel sword, less so. Yeah. I feel like we're so close to getting Dumpling Dude ready to make something for us, that it certainly, at least on the weapon side of things, we ought to wait. On the armor side, we did, of course, pick up some stuff from the other guy. I think we're actually doing okay there. Pretty sure we actually see that there are no pieces of gear right now that are highlighted on the side of the screen, and not so often that we've had that happen. Excuse me? Oh, that really looked like you were drawing that weapon and about to stab us. I really thought that was what was about to happen. He was like, how dare you not want to craft anything using my masterful skills. Well, you can take out that anger when it comes to Gwent.
Don't know that I'm gonna buy anything. I sure wouldn't mind a few rounds of Gwent.
Forget about business. Gwent, that's business. So this guy is just a normal opponent, not one of those super high stakes opponents dudes. So I think we should be fine with our usual setup here. This is a Nilfgaardian opponent. Okay, so we have Decoy, Fighting Frost, a couple of weather effects. So this is melee nerf, this is the range nerf. We have one of the two in terms of our melee pair, one spy, one of the two in terms of our range pair. These guys get double strength when you have another one of the same kind that you play with them. But we need the other one to play with them for that to happen. Medic is really good. Do we have a decoy? We do. Decoy plus medic is really strong. Then we can play the medic twice and get to bring a card back from our discard pile twice. Trebuchet, catapult. Yeah, not bad. Roach, obviously great. But I think most notably, weather effects we might not want, and having several of the people who are powerful when paired up, when they are not with their pair, is also not ideal. If we were to get rid of weather effect, which one would we like to get rid of? I think we probably want to hold on to a melee, if anything. Let's get rid of the range. We get a siege card here to boost these guys. We'll give +1 to both of them. Only 1 strength himself. That means he's functionally a 3, which is not great. However, we do have a way to double him using our leader ability, making him effectively a 6. In which case, he's probably still better than this guy, so let's get rid of him. And we've got a Commander's Horn to double another row. So I think that's a pretty good trade. We got out ahead of that one. So, as for how we start here, we actually don't have much outside of the spy. Well, yeah, let's start with the spy, see what we get from it. So we play it on our opponent's side, get a couple cards. Got the siege nerf, uh-oh. And then another Commander's Horn, what? Our opponent instantly passed? I mean, they are, of course, in the lead now because we played a card on their side of the field, but still. So, what is the most efficient way to beat our opponent here for round 1? Because that is definitely something we could do. We could say, actually, yeah, I think we play 1 siege card. That way, we'll have 6 strength, our opponent will have 5, so we will take the lead with only 1 card played. Or actually, I mean, spy, I suppose, still counts, but then we will have what? Well, actually, why won't we have card advantage? Yeah, I guess we played 2 cards, whereas our opponent technically played precisely 0. Strange, but yeah, so we play this. Gives us the lead here. We'll pass with the intention of, say, using our medic on some future occasion to bring back this very card here. So no major concern about us playing it this time around. And we will gain a card after winning a round, because that's what Northern Realms does. So we will still have a little bit of card advantage after taking the first round. So to have both those things working in our favor is quite nice. What did we draw? Did we draw another Commander's Horn? No, I'm pretty sure we drew Sheila. Okay. Which is not bad per se. Now my question is, do we deliberately try to win round 2, or do we try to go tread softly here in preparation of going hard for round 3? Is there any reason to do that here? We have so many Commander's Horns, we could double every single row between these two and our leader ability for the range, or for the siege row. So, but I think that's, you know, playing a bunch of siege cards when we have a siege nerf, and playing a bunch of melee cards when we have a melee nerf, is maybe not the most meaningful. Granted, Roach can actually resist that. So I think what we do here is we actually play Roach, and we might pass immediately after. Basically just, oh, okay, admittedly, did not really want you to match exactly what we played. That is not exactly ideal. When I'm realizing one of these Commander Horns is going to be completely irrelevant. Because, sure, our leader ability will double siege. That's fine. One of these Commander Horns will double range. We have some range units. That'll be fine. One of them will double, our last one, will double the melee row. However, our only melee card is Roach, and Roach is not affected by the horn, so therefore, our last one is unfortunately a little bit meaningless right now. And what I'm wondering though is, yeah, do we force our opponent into playing one more card here to take the lead, and therefore they will have 8 cards relative to our 10 going into round 3? And look at 3 cards in our hand, which is so hard to tell what that means for a computer. But yeah, I don't think that changes much of anything. It's mostly just that we have some cards that are more or less throwaway cards. So I'd kind of like to... I mean, this one could be useful to us. I shouldn't treat that as if that's a throwaway. This one is basically a throwaway. So I'm tempted to try to play them and see if they can make some difference here, or at least bait our opponent into playing better than a throwaway card, so that they overinvest in this round. I think that is the way to go. So let's assume that we aren't playing our siege cards here, so the siege nerf is fine. Play that here. And what does our opponent do? They play their strongest siege card. Okay. Yeah, that makes completely no sense, but sure. Then from there, I mean, it's tempting to play more cards because our opponent just wasted a very powerful card, and we could say, play something that is just strong enough that forces our opponent to play something else. And then they have to invest even more, except we don't have much in the way of little things that we can just throw in there. I suppose that would mean either one of our range units. Yeah, let's do that. Let's play Sheila. Now our opponent needs to do some stuff. Uses Scorch, and it does get rid of Sheila. That was a strong card, though, that they just played, and it was something we would rather they use here rather than in the next round when it would have been more effective. So I think that's still okay. And ultimately, our medic here will be able to bring back several cards from our graveyard, 2 precisely, and now we have 2. Won't be able to do it against Roach because I think Roach, as a hero, that's not possible to do. He's technically immune. So that, in some ways, is actually quite alright. Would still kind of like to play. I think we do play one more range card. And again, force our opponent to say, act a little bit drastically here, and that is perfect. Because now, look here. We have 15 strength. Our opponent has 14. Yet, our opponent has played more cards than us, so what we do is we pass now. Force our opponent to play one more card if they want to actually take round 2, and they have to, otherwise they lose. We'll do this here. That way we have a 2-card advantage going into round 3. Granted, like I was saying before, at least 1, potentially 2 of these cards will be throwaways. But now, no. Melee nerf is relevant. This will reduce that card they just played to 1 strength. Let's hold off for the time being. And maybe, for now, we'll start with our weakest cards. In case our opponent has any more of those Scorch cards to remove the strongest card on the field. Okay, they're looking at our hand. Whatever that means. We could... I think we probably do want to play the medic now and bring back, say, the Trebuchet. Or, actually, let's do something that at the moment is going to do precisely nothing, but in the future will do something. We're going to play our Commander's Horn in the range row. We are ultimately going to revive someone to bring in there, and then they will get doubled, but at the moment we're doubling nothing. I'm pretty sure it's a James Bond movie. But, not quite, but you know what I mean. Now, we play the medic, and with said medic, we can bring back the Trebuchet. Technically, the Trebuchet is now the strongest unit, so this is a little bit dangerous. Their opponent is doubling melee, which normally would be a concern, except we can reduce those guys down using Biting Frost. 1 strength apiece. They'll still get doubled from 1 to 2, but that's not really a big deal. So that's fine. Let's use the decoy to bring back the medic. And then we will replay her to respawn another unit from our graveyard, and that will be the card that goes in the range row. Yay, you are also doubling a unit, or doubling a row that does not currently have anything in it. Play you. Now we bring back, take your pick. They're functionally the same. But you'll get doubled. So that's why we played the Commander's Horn. Our opponent only has 1 card remaining, and apparently it's not going to be something that helps them. So they pass. Well, here's where things get interesting. We are tied right now. However, Biting Frost, like I was saying, will nerf their melee row. They get weaker. We'll play our catapults, make us stronger, and then we can double our siege row using our later ability here. And we can get a sizable victory. We could throw in our Commander's Horn in our melee row, where, like I was saying, we're going to have precisely no one, but for the sake of playing every card, we can do it. And there we have it. Okay. Blacksmith down. And ELVEN Skirmisher, that... Yeah, the way he draws the sword. So aggressive. Really looks like he's about to charge at us. Elven Skirmisher is definitely a Scoia'tael card. Elven Skirmisher. Say? Oh, in fact, it is a muster card. If you have multiple of them, that means you play one, and it brings all of them to that row, which is interesting. We had only one previously, at which point it was precisely meaningless. However, with two, it's at least a little bit valuable. That is still only 4 strength collectively, which is not a ton. So I think we probably still hold off adding them to our theoretical Scoia'tael deck. Once we pick up one more, then they're collectively 6 strength, and now you're starting to talk about something somewhat significant. So, closer, but not there just yet. And theoretically, there's also a place for us to actually sharpen our weapons over here? No. Somewhere right next to the creepy weaponsmith guy. What is the actual place where we sharpen the weapons? Not extinguishing that flame. Not sure how seriously I'm supposed to take the indicator on the minimap. Is it actually directly on top of that? I don't know. It's always hard to tell where these things actually are. Blend in, especially when there's all this other stuff that looks like they could also be signs of whetstones of sorts. But right, it is technically stone, not actually a rack of weapons. Does that help us figure it out? I don't know. It's somewhere over here, but I don't know precisely where. We'll pass on that for now. Also, a merchant over here? Not you, I wouldn't think. Looks like you're inside this building, which I'm not currently sure how to get into, is the thing. Over here, maybe? Oh, through here. Yes.
Excellent goods at the lowest prices. If some mug's got it cheaper, you can be sure the scoundrels put sawdust in his flour. Interest you in a fritter?
Have we spoken to you yet? No, we have not, because we have not played you at Gwent yet.
Mind if I have a look?
I mean, we've been running into every single merchant in Novigrad now. Remember, when we first got here, we were searching high and low just to find someone to sell goods to, and now they're everywhere. And at this point, I'm pretty sure that means that we don't have much to offload other than maybe a little bit of junk that we've since picked up. We have a lot in the way of old goat hides. They're not super valuable, so maybe those remain crafting materials, or things that we ultimately break down into crafting materials, whereas the old bear hide, that actually does add up a bit. Let's sell that. This is worth something as well. As is that. And then, yeah, this is the next most valuable. Dump that too. And get rid of our vials, because those are pretty much just dead weight. Then from there on out, oh, the saddle. Let's get rid of that. That's also not doing us any good. Just give us a little more inventory space and a little bit more in the way of coins. Okay. And yeah, you're not exactly selling anything otherworldly here. Those ergot seats are kind of hard to get sometimes. So you could maybe make a case for picking one of those up. Let's do that. Well, they're cheap enough. Sure, we'll get all of them. And could say, if we were just looking to offload more stuff, sell some of the crafting items that we get a bazillion of whenever we loot things to you. Of course, I'm thinking of things like Alchemist Powder, Dwarven Spirit, Alchemy Paste, any and all of the above. So, I don't know, take your pick. Here's the Dwarven Spirit. What is technically the most valuable? I think it was the Alchemy Paste. But I still think we have way more of all this stuff than we will ever need. If we do this, then we whittle this guy down to precisely 1 coin. I think is right where we want him. Because then we play him at Gwent and we say, let's bet 5 coins on this thing. Don't know how you have 5 coins, because you just said you only have 1.
Not so interested in goods, but I'd sure like to play some cards.
Which means you better have something else to pay up with. If you... When you lose. As for what that will be, we'll just have to see. Okay, our opponent is Scoia'tael and they opt to go first. Apparently that's a Scoia'tael thing. Did not remember that, but sure. Scorch is strong, gets rid of the highest card, and as long as we're bearing that in mind, this could be very useful to us. Impenetrable Fog is the range combat nerf. Let's take a look at what other cards we have. Is that going to be a problem for us? Okay, we did get 2 of the Blue Stripes Commandos. They are the ones that get more powerful when there are 2 of them played together, so that is useful. Siege Experts are also potentially good with numerous of them, especially if we have more siege cards, and we do. So this is a pretty strong hand here. We don't really have any... We don't have any range cards ourselves, so there's no risk of playing Impenetrable Fog right now. We won't hurt ourselves at all. However, there is theoretically a chance that our opponent may just opt not to play any range units. However, this is Scoia'tael we're going against here. Pretty sure we're going to see our fair share of that. So I'm tempted to try to swap this over to see if we can get any more siege units, because these guys will boost them. But I think we do have a spy, and so there's a chance we might get them through that. And I think I can live with it for that reason. So let's keep it. Oh, except, and by that, let's keep it, I mean, let's accidentally press the button that makes us take something else instead. In which case, we'll get a 6 strength unit Vesemir. Do we want to hold on to him? He's okay. Well, he's above average. 5 is about average, and he's 6, so not bad. I would ideally prefer Siege, so maybe we get greedy here. And we get a melee nerf, which is definitely worse than the range nerf we originally had. Because, well, our opponent just played a card in the range row, and we don't have anything in the range row, so, again, no risk for us, and would have just weakened our opponent instead. So, what do we do here? I think what I'm tempted to do is deliberately start off by playing at least 1 Siege Expert, or maybe even 1 of our melee guys, and that way our opponent still has the strongest unit, so we play this. And we still have the option of using Scorch and getting rid of one of our opponent's cards. And they bring in all of their... What are they? Mahakam Skirmishers? Dwarven Skirmishers? Yeah. That is that card's ability. That is a strong play there. Perhaps even reason enough to opt to switch over to our melee nerf here. It's tempting. In which case, do we do the rare first turn siege setup? Almost all the time we save that for round 2 or 3. It makes me hesitant, because I feel like what we want to do is we want to wait 1 more turn, find a way to bide our time for 1, maybe even 2 more turns, and that way if we use... it gives our opponent more time to play other 5 strength or higher cards, so when we play Scorch, it can take out more than 1 card simultaneously, or an even stronger card. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Tell you what, I think we play Roach. Because Roach is immune to Scorch because he's a leader, or he's a hero. He's unaffected by special cards. So I think we do that. It's both a strong card and a card that does not prevent us from setting up our next turn move. Okay, so now we would, if we were to use Scorch, remove the card that our opponent just played. 6 strength, which is slightly better. Oh, it's the 8. So we could go that route. Slightly better option now. We could nerf the melee row, which would be, again, more effective than it was previously. And Roach is also unaffected by that because he's a hero. So that would reduce us to 11. It would reduce our opponent to what? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We would take the lead in that case, whereas if we used the Scorch, our opponent would have what? 5, 8, 11, 14, and we'd be tied. So technically speaking, at least as things currently stand, it is better to use this. However, we have another really strong card that we'd like to play in the melee row, so I kind of don't want to nerf it. Oh yeah, I totally forgot that melee nerf would also nerf ourselves, at least for this guy. So yeah, I think we do this. And, well, no, but then our opponent will... Then we'll have a stronger card than our opponent. Then, if we were to scorch, we would scorch ourselves, which is not what we are looking to do. So, do we play our spy this turn, maybe? We do. Yeah. Potentially all the more reason to play that melee nerf. Draw 2 Commander's Horns. Wow. Okay, this is the opportunity we were waiting for. Now if we use a Scorch, we will remove the 2 strongest units, or we'll remove the strongest units on the playing field. Because Roach is a 10, but is a hero, he is immune. That means we go to the next highest, that would be this person and this person collectively. It would remove both of them. So that is basically exactly what we were waiting for, is to make this card extra powerful. So let's do it. Get rid of both of those guys. Our opponent is technically still winning, but bear in mind, we played a spy, which put a card on their side of the field, but gave us 2 extra cards. They played a medic, so they did bring back one of those cards that we just destroyed, but they had to, of course, play the medic to make it happen. So, now what? Now do we go aggressive on melee? I think we do. I think we play this melee card, and then that will double these guys, because they get doubled whenever you have 2 of them in the same row. Let's do this. And then we can use Commander's Horn to double them again. We hope our opponent does not have Scorch as well. Otherwise, we're in trouble. So, like, it would have been perfect if we had even waited 1 more turn. And this would have been another 6 strength unit that we would have also deleted with Scorch. But, of course, we couldn't have known that, and it was a risk. Ultimately, we were going to need to play some of our own cards, so here is the setup we were looking for. Wow, that is a strong card. 10 strength. And also a medic? Allows them to bring someone back as well? No, adds +1 to all units on the row, including self. That is insanely powerful. All the more reason why it would have been great if we had not accidentally gotten rid of our range nerf card at the beginning of the round, because that is more or less exactly what we would want here. And now things are looking a tad tricky, because our opponent only has 3 cards remaining. What are they expecting to do in future rounds? I don't know. So, we could just find a way to eke out enough strength to take them out here in this round, and they'll have basically nothing remaining for rounds 2 and 3, and our card advantage hopefully could carry us there. However, we're starting to run out of units here. These guys by themselves are not enough. They're just 1 strength, so we'll be at 43, our opponent will be at 45. That does us no good. Playing this, his 5 is technically our lowest and the best way for us to leapfrog our opponent a little bit, but this is also our strongest card because it is a medic, and therefore brings back a unit from our graveyard, which at the moment is nothing. That's kind of a waste. I think for that reason, we play the catapult. Could make it tough for our opponent. Wow, our opponent has just enough strength to pull it off. We could play a siege expert here, and that would bring us up to 52, because he will boost the catapult by 1. We'd be tied. I think we do it. And our opponent has to play something. Ooh, I don't like that. What is our opponent planning to do with 1 card for the remaining 2 rounds? So I think what we do here is we have to hold on to these guys. And then we do something to either double siege row with this guy or use our leader ability. Probably our leader ability, because that's less flexible. This has to be on the siege row, whereas a Commander's Horn in our hand we could use anywhere. So I think we use this. This will give us a lot of strength. I was hoping we wouldn't need to go this far, but will allow us to leapfrog our opponent. I'm assuming our opponent does not have a strong enough last card to pull this off. If they do, we can throw in Our last siege expert, yeah. And they would have quite literally 0 cards for rounds 2 and 3. So we take round 1. We don't have a lot remaining here. But I think we probably let our opponent win this next round, and we do draw another card. Because we're Northern Realms, and we draw another card when we successfully win a round. We have 3 units here. So I think what we do is, say, play our weakest card, meaning our siege expert here, force our opponent to play their 1 remaining card in order to win this round. And it has 0 strength, but it is a medic, so we bring someone back. Who do they bring back? A spy. Oh, that's not good. Spy allows them to suddenly draw cards. Now they're theoretically back in it. We could Commander's Horn and double up the strength on this guy, and then our opponent is not looking so good. But I think what we do is I think we just pass here, make our opponents make up for the 6 strength deficit, and they'll have to play at least 1 card, maybe even 2, to make that happen. And then that means that we will have a very strong advantage for round 3. That's what I'm thinking. We have another medic, though! Okay, that was a very strong card that they brought back with the medic. They still only have 1 remaining for round 3. They will go first, so we'll get to see what that card is. And it's muster, so it will bring in all the friends. All the same types of cards. That's 15 strength, which is good. Will we be able to pull it off? Well, bear in mind, we can nerf melee. So of all the places for them to play that card, we can bump all these guys down to 1 strength. That means that in and of itself, that will be enough. So yes, we are fine. We could also play this, and it's not going to single-handedly outdo them. But say we do this, we can lead off with this. That's the big one. They're all the way down to 3. Now we play this. We can bring back a card. We could bring back one of the Blue Stripes Commandos and then double up when we play the one that's in our hand. However, there is still a melee nerf, so that's probably still not a great idea. Probably just want to bring back our strongest card, the Catapult. It's not in a nerf row, so it is fine in that regard. We can double up on Siege with the Commander's Horn and just further BM here, and why not? We'll play the Blue Stripes Commando, even if it's only going to have 1 strength after the weather effect. And there you have it. It's a bit of a strange one. But we emerge victorious. And somehow, the guy pays us 10 crowns that he doesn't have. And we get a Griffin, which I'm pretty sure, based on the color, is going to be a monster card. Sounds like, just based on the description, based on the name, it might be good. 5 strength, which is, again, roughly average, so we are pretty low on monster cards, so that's not bad to just get more of them so that we're capable of playing a monster deck. Okay. So that's nice. Then let us proceed to steal any other worldly possessions that this guy has, if there are any. Oh. Did not realize there were more people in here. Sorry. Really? Can't beat this?
Hit the spot it would.
I am surprised. Okay, so let's get on out of here. Yes, this is a door. Okay. So yeah, we actually hadn't been to this exact part of town before. Yeah, but again, this is one of those little pockets of space that we've not yet explored in the northwestern section of town. I think, for the most part, we have gotten just about everything here now, though. Because, yeah, I mean, we've gone, certainly, along the perimeter here. Spent a fair bit of time in this area, where we saw the henchmen of some variety. And also, we were just around here looting some stuff fairly often. Fairly recently. So, there's like maybe a tiny bit in closer here. I suppose, yeah, let's put a marker there just to double check if, like, say, that spot. Maybe we haven't necessarily been to. Just looking at what we have not necessarily looted yet.
It just rained.
there was that small area where it might even have been right here. We saw some stuff, and we were not quite able to loot it because we got that warning that we were about to make the guards mad at us. Even though there were no guards in sight. That was fine. Not that those fruits were terribly significant, but these are perhaps a bigger deal. Yeah, the problem here is there are so many directions from which someone could see us. That this makes me a little nervous. There you go. Oh, I'm sorry. Get these as well? No. Again, is that a guard all the way over there? I feel like it is. Or maybe even might just be a Virus 1 person. No, that is a guard. I mean, he's so far away that I do wonder a bit as to whether it's even possible for him to catch us. Obviously, we're not going to be taking any of those things anytime soon. Where did we actually put that marker? We got rid of it, although I'm pretty sure we put it more or less right here. So, yeah, I think we were looking in the right place.
Unless Anir comes to reduce the place to rubble. Oh yes, but have plenty of space.
So yeah, it'd be nice to take this stuff, but I think I'm wary of that guard there getting mad at us. Rather not have that happen. So in that case, I think we have more or less explored everything besides this northernmost area, and we poked our head in there briefly. But I think that is probably, well, I mean, we could either, way I see it, go and do Triss's main quest here, because that is in this sort of primary part of the city, if we truly want to do everything we can here first. Or we could go up here and do those things and then go back to Triss. And not sure what necessarily the best course of action is, because like I was saying previously, it felt like when we were way back in Velen, down, I'm thinking of specifically in, I think it was kind of like in the mid-cops area, we walked through this area here and saw almost nothing, and then I think we did one of the main quests, and then suddenly it seemed as though all these things popped up, and that seemed odd, but at the same time, if that's a thing, then maybe that's a thing, and that some quests don't show up until you make some progress on the main quest. So, for that reason, we may have explored, at least initially, many of the areas in the city. However, we could find that if we went to Triss next, then some of these places might have new things to investigate further, new quests, and therefore, it might be best to do that soon. I'm not entirely sure. And we do know that there are at least, there's one treasure hunt that will lead us right up here. One of the, like Witcher School treasure hunts, I believe, had a spot that was right there that we did most of the stuff back when we were in Velen, but then saw that the last part was up here and said, let's hold off on that one until we're actually in Novigrad, not jump the gun. So we might be able to do that one soon as well.
Winds howling.
I think that was roughly a level 17 quest, I want to say, which is, of course, a good fit for us now. Being at 16, and we picked up a little bit of experience recently, but not a ton. It'd be great if we could get one somewhat significant side quest that's roughly in the right range for us, so that we could get close to 17, or maybe even reach 17. Then I'd start to feel a lot more comfortable going after level 20 quests, because I feel like we'd ride that momentum, hopefully gain more levels, and suddenly we have more quests that are within a reasonable range and the world is our oyster. But I'm still a little bit concerned about doing the one or two quests that are within our level range and then kind of fizzling out and still trying to find a little bit more experience before we'd be able to do some of these guys. And that might be another reason, quite frankly, to start to look at the main quest, because I'm assuming that although Pirates of Novigrad, that's the one that I'm talking about, is only level 10 quest, so it shouldn't give us that much experience, I'm assuming it's pretty long, and therefore might just have enough parts to it that over time, it will add up and get us to the point where we'll hopefully gain a few levels. So I'm not entirely sure what the best course of action is here. There may just not necessarily be a right or wrong answer there, so not necessarily sure that we would be going wrong by doing either one of those things. But I'm thinking maybe, yeah, we started to explore this area up here. So why don't we try going for that? So let me at least put this on our map marker. So we make our way over to our fast travel location. That's probably still the fastest way to get there. Yeah. We did, of course, go in here ever so briefly, but we did not get any quest or any fast travel locations when we did that. So we can't fully teleport, only partially teleport. It'll be a shortcut. Down here. This merchant is Baldy? Yeah, okay. This is back in one of the primary areas in town. And they're still burning people.
They ought to never let your kind in, Novigrad proper.
Well, guess what? I'm in Novigrad proper, so what you gonna do about it? Have we actually seen these people out here? I feel like we may have only spent much time in this main Street Square area when it was nighttime before. Because obviously now it's day. Hold on. There's another merchant here. Can I get you? There we go.
Greetings.
Have we spoken to you? Maybe not.
Show me your wares.
Okay, so we can't play like Gwent. We don't have much in the way of interesting items, but we could still sell stuff for the sake of selling stuff. If you would take crafting items, but I'm not sure that you will. Hold on. Not this, as much as this is what we're looking for. And do crafting items technically count as alchemy things that we would be best off selling to herbalists? If so, then there is another herbalist, I think not far from here. It could theoretically be preferable. However, generally speaking, when it comes to these crafting materials, they are so low in price that, you know, it's like 2 per Ranogrin. 9 for Alchemist Powder is something, yes. What I'm getting at is, I am skeptical that even if there is a premium for price for alchemists purchasing things from you, then it would seem like, you know, if it's higher than... If they are buying things for a premium when the price is 2, then at the lowest, the premium would be 1 additional coin, in which case that's a 50% increase, which is ginormous. Because most of the alchemy ingredients you sell in volume, and the way you get the primary way you're getting the coins from them is just you have so many of them. It's not so much that they are all that valuable individually, and that makes it, again, like, unless there are fractions of coins that people will buy things from you for, then I don't really think that's going to be a factor against these guys, because when it comes to selling these things, yeah. Because, like, say we wanted to sell all of our blood moss, and we get 24 if we sold it to this non-specialist. What is the specialist going to do? Buy them for 2 coins a piece, in which case they're buying them for 48? That's twice as much? I doubt that's the case, and I doubt that they would buy a blood moss at 1.5 coins or 1.25 coins a piece. So I feel like, yes, maybe for some of the big things, like, I don't know, whatever our most valuable crafting materials are, that might be possible. You know, if something's selling for like 30 gold, then maybe, you know, they're buying them for 1 or 2 gold pieces more than the typical person. But for our many 1 to 2 gold piece items, my guess is like this. Like, if we were trying to sell a 137 gold piece item, then that makes sense. Presumably, that is a valuable enough item that there would be some appreciable premium that we would get from selling that to a specialist, but When we're just selling tiny little things, then I think that premium is so small that it just gets rounded down. It doesn't end up happening. So, that's a bazillion ways of explaining the same thing.
So long.
And yet I'm still going to try to go to the herbalist and sell to that person anyway, because, well, herbalist is right here, so why not? You? No? You.
Welcome.
Also,
Welcome.
don't think we've spoken to you yet, come to think of it. Oh, no, we have, because that's
What have
right
you
out.
got there?
So you still have 314 coins, so again, it's not that one, it's this one. We could perhaps sell a little bit to you. And I'm thinking, again, it's probably going to be the stuff that we have a bazillion of. It's like white myrtle petals. Still selling for only 100, or well, 1 coin a piece, I should say. 100 total, so there's no premium here. Whereas, I don't remember what the price was. I think it was 137. Yeah, there's no premium at all. That way, it's good to know. There's no reason why you need to sell, or there's no actual incentive of selling alchemy ingredients to herbalists. This, yes, can refill our potions, but well, for that reason, we probably want to hold on to some of them. We have a bazillion things that can do that. Also not our most valuable one. So maybe it's best to use this for refilling our potions, and then leaving things like Tamarian Rye, which are a little more expensive, to sell those instead. Basically, they're the same. They serve the same purpose if we're using them directly, but if we're selling them to other people, then this is better. So why not sell this? And of course, the other thing that falls under that category is the Dwarven Spirit, because we have an unlimited supply of those, seemingly. So we'll just sell it all and basically get 100 or 200 coins off that. Not bad. Anything that we happen to want to make a point of buying, again, I feel like every time I see Arenaria, I want to pick it up, but we do that frequently enough at this point that maybe that's no longer necessary. You have 11. For a second, I thought that only said 1, but no, there's a second 1 there. Maybe we take a little bit. At this point, we've done that a few times. We're probably looking okay there. Then, were there any other things? Mandrake, we did pick up some not so long ago. This is comparatively more expensive. 38 apiece, maybe we pass on that. Allspice has at times been hard to get, and has at times been a key crafting ingredient, so let's pick up a few of those. And I'm mostly just going from memory of things that have been useful in the past. These are 15 apiece. They are kind of rare. Brionia, we also picked up a lot recently. Other things. We did need some long group. I remember that. I do remember that. So let's get a few, because I don't remember exactly how much. Other than that, Hornwort, I don't recall how much of that we have right now. That is a little bit expensive. We can pick up a bit, and then we could proceed to just sell more of our infinite number of other crafting materials in order to make up for the stuff that we're buying here. Ribleaf, I don't remember if there's anything we need to use that for, but at the same time, we don't seem to get it all that often, so let's sell it anyway. And for us selling stuff, let's dump... Oh, we have a bazillion Ribleaf. My bad. Never mind, then. We definitely didn't need that. But as for what we get rid of to make up for the 221 coins that we just spent, we could also dump some dog tallow, which is actually somewhat valuable. We have a lot of it, so probably not the end of the world if we part ways with a bit of it. And we actually, yeah, do have a fair share of mandrake right now. Mistletoe, actually, we don't have much of. That would be nice, however, this guy does not have any of it, unfortunately. Bison grass maybe as well. Empty bottles do anything for us? I'm not sure they do. What is this? This item cannot be sold. Fiend dung? You won't buy our fiend dung? How dare you? I'm offended. Okay. And that's the end. So, would we say sell maybe a little bit more of this. Yeah, sure. And we don't actually have any stacks of 100 remaining, so we're down to 77. Only 77. Oh dear, what are we going to do? I think we'll be fine. I'm sure we will pick up a lot more of it in the not-so-distant future. And when it comes to alchemy, is there anything new that we can create there? Not on alcohol, not on explosives, decoctions. I think we have had one for a while now. It's not one that we want to make. Oils, no. Potions, still no. So unfortunately, doesn't seem as though anything that we picked up there was a difference maker. But on net, we did still make some coins, so not bad.